morning, everyone, and welcome to the Volunteer Appreciation Luncheon. Mrs. Allen's first grade students have been practicing the song with their music teacher, and God bless the you at Lee Greenwood, and they're going to practice it for you, and they'll be our entertainment for this morning. So enjoy your lunch and some wonderful children's voices.
Just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here today. As the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. Be an American, where at least I know I'm free. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA. There's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say.
Welcome you all this afternoon to our brave celebration luncheon. I hope you've all enjoyed your lunch. I'd like to have you enjoy this wonderful spring day. Fortunately, the warm sun is finally here. And I'd like to introduce Miss Pat Riley, who has been involved with Ray for a very long time. And she is going to be our hostess for this Brave Celebration Luncheon.
Thank you, Kate. many years, not to date any of us. Thank you all for coming, and for those of you that may be watching this on cable television, Rave is celebrating 33 years of service to the Raynham schools, which is a very long time. It started way back in 1981. There are a few people who remember when that started, and I'm going to ask him to say a few words in a few minutes. Mr. McKinnon, our retired selectman, because even though I didn't ask you in advance, Don, I know you can always say a few words. And you were one of the originals back in 1981 when Rave got started, and it's continued on, and we just thank everybody that's involved in that, both on the ed side of being our volunteers and also on the school district side. Our superintendents and our principals have always supported Rave, and our teachers always welcomed our volunteers in, and we've always said that it's a partnership. That if we didn't have that welcome sign at the door for our volunteers, it just wouldn't work. And we're very pleased to have that. And of course, the reward for our volunteers is always those children that, with their smiling faces and their appreciation, that means so much. Kim Dolan is our Rave volunteer coordinator. She doesn't like to get in front of the microphone, but if we could give her a big round of applause. The heart and soul of Rave right now, and everything revolves around her, and it wouldn't exist without Rave, and without Rave wouldn't exist without Kim, so we really appreciate all that you do. I'm going to ask a couple of our special guests to say a few words here, and starting with Mr. Joe Pacheco, representing our Board of Selectmen.
Good afternoon. It took Don retiring to get me ahead of the program ahead. I always would complain about having to follow him because I think these types of events, it's always a little bit more important when you have people who are more closely associated with the schools, and Don, having been a teacher for so long, was really able to put his imprint on these types of programs. My experience is having been a student through these schools and having experienced Rave as a student. And now as a selectman, I can tell you, especially in those occasions when I've been able to go outside of Raynham and talk about how special we are, your reputation as Rave precedes you. People everywhere know about it, and the places that don't, when I have an opportunity to talk about it, they want to know more, and they want to know how it's sustaining for so long. You have these volunteer groups, there's a lot of changeover, and you don't have that continuity and that consistency, and I think Rave has really exemplified being able to be a model, not just in Massachusetts, but across the country, for your exceptional programs and your exceptional service to our community. It's something that's definitely appreciated by myself, Mrs. Smith, who's with us today, and Chairman Chivo. And so we say thank you on these days, but every day, for everything that you do to help Raynham be a great community. You might have noticed recently, but Channel 5 and Fox actually said that Raynham was now the #1 place to live in Massachusetts. And it's not, yeah, it is, it's good. And while the selectmen like to take some of the credit for it, the credit really belongs to people like you who make the fabric of the community better. You know, I'm sitting with a good friend of mine, Aaron Mello, in the back, and Aaron has the Dunkin' Donuts along 138, so make sure you stop there. But Aaron he also just recently built a house in Raynham, and when I've asked him why, he said it's the community. His 2 boys are in our schools now, and he said they come home every day and they're having a blast. They love the teachers, they love the programs, they love the sense of community. And so that's what's happening. We're getting more and more people here who are moving here. We have almost per se a wait list because there are no houses on the market in Raynham, and when they are on the market, they get scooped up in 2 or 3 days above ask. And I do some real estate stuff, and that's unheard of still in this market. So really, you talk about the impact that all of you have, and it's everywhere. It's not just on the students. It's a ripple effect throughout the whole community. So I say thank you for everything you do, and please keep it up because it makes my job easier.
Thank you, Joe. We've always had great support from our selectmen, and they're involved in our many programs as well. So, Mr. McKinnon, would you, a retired selectman for many, many years, he was a selectman and always involved with our Rave programs, Children and Seniors Together Week, our Read Across America Week, and everything else we can have done involved, and we appreciate. So, Mr. McKinnon.
From out of the past, he's still around. Will he ever stay home? Joey's doing a great job, I want to say that. I served with Joey. He was the youngest, I was the longest servant, Marie was the first woman. We had nothing to brag about now, Joey. Because that was it. That was all to brag about. Once I prayed the other day, and the superintendent did a great job. Did everybody hear that? Gil Santos said she did a great job. Gil Santos is a teller of truth, so he wouldn't lie, said she did great. I want to just say, there's two things you need in this world. One is your health, you know that. The other is you need education. I want to agree to disagree, Sean. I get upset because I'm always talking education. Without it, you get nothing. More so now than ever before. I come from a generation where if you graduated from high school, that was fine. That ship has sailed. And so therefore you do need an education. Education, you need the foundation. The foundation, you get it here. And I will congratulate Patricia because they took, I won't say who they were because I can keep secrets. Not for long. They tried to do away with Ray. They tried to do away with it. They had some opponents. And, but anyway, 81 was Shoshana Gashek. How many years did she then see? 16. So here we are. And so then half of it was Shoshana Gashek, and then the other half has been Patricia Riley. And those are the two people that have really been, you know, that organization, do you remember the years she used to give it? Shoshana used to always give us the number of years that these organizations were successful. And it was like 9, I think, something like that, 9 years. Here we are, 33 years, it's still going strong. It has to do with Shoshana and Pat, but it also has to do with you people out there. Because as we say in management, if you don't have the people working with you, it isn't going to fly. So you people are the result of why this program has lasted so long. So in my own humble way, I say thank you all for all the work you've done, because I am a delegator, not a doer. I wish I were, but I'm not. So I ask you to do things. You do it. I appreciate it. And so with Pat Riley, Joe Beck, of course, there's a guy and a girl in every world, right? And Pat's the most valuable of the volunteer, and Joe Beck, of course, the most valuable of the volunteer. Those are the two that have just for the last, how many years have you been active, Pat? Over 10? No, we don't. So I thank you very much. Thank you all very much for the invite. And I heard there was a free meal. I stopped by and it was here. Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And Marie Smith is also with us here. Marie also on the Board of Selectmen and one of our volunteers that gets involved in so many things, helping out this week with Children and Seniors Together Week. Also, Mr. Chavo, current chairman, could not make it today. He had another commitment, but he sends his appreciation to all of our volunteers as well. If I could now ask our superintendent of schools, Dr. Forbes, to speak. And if you missed the Memorial Day Parade on Saturday, you'll have to catch it on cable because Dr. Forbes had a speech that just brought tears to your eyes. It was not really a home run, it was a grand slam, Dr. Forbes.
Joe, I'd like to take credit for everybody moving to Raynham because of the wonderful schools. And Don, thank you for your kind words. The words and Pat also, those were spoken from the heart. And it's a rare community where the superintendent of schools is allowed to make a speech at a Memorial Day parade or a Veterans Day ceremony. So we are indeed very, very appreciative of this community. And it is all about community. We work together with our Board of Selectmen, and whenever we have an issue in the schools, we take our issue, our problem, to the leadership. The school committee presents department, highway department was out there cleaning the insulation off the street right into the neighbor's yards. The building inspector was here, the fire chief was here, our police were here. Everybody was in here, Maria was in here mopping, we got everything taken care of. And we had school that day. Our principal moved the buses around the back. That's unheard of. That's what is so rare in education, working with the communities the way we do. So I want to thank them. I believe it was Joe Chico who knew that there were resources at the state level, and so he called up and had Steve Grossman come down. I don't know if any of you know who he is, but he's in charge of the MSBA, treasurer, I believe, and I think he's running for some office here in the Commonwealth. Came right down. Pat was here, Joe, walked right through. We made sure that they were aware, he was aware, of what the need was for the La Liberté and Merrill School. So this truly is a wonderful community, and the education here couldn't be as good as it is without the help of the volunteers. Today, you are going to receive service award pins for 3 years to 33 years volunteering in the schools with the RAVE organization. That is an outstanding effort, and our school system is better because of the efforts, the work that you do. We couldn't do it without you, and that is not just, those aren't just words. You really mean that. Your efforts enrich the lives of our students, you make us a better school and a better school system. So I want to sincerely thank you from the bottom of my heart on behalf of the district for all that you do. And I'd like to leave you with a quote. Irma Brombeck once said, and I hope that there are some in the crowd who might remember who she was, because I know some of the younger administrators, but I'll explain it to you later, Mr. Swenson. Volunteers are the only human beings on the face of the earth who reflect this nation's compassion, unselfish caring, patience, and just plain loving one another. I agree with Irma, and we love you. Thank you for loving our children, their schools, and the community in which they live. You certainly represent the best of Raynham pride. Thank you so much, and thank you, Pat Riley and Kim Dolan and the RAVE board for all that you do for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Forbes. Mr. Swenson, since Dr. Forbes is always giving you a hard time, would you like to come up and say a few words?
About Dr. Forbes?
No. I just thought I'd give you equal opportunity.
I just want to say, not only as the assistant superintendent, but as a parent, I couldn't be happier and more proud of you. Great, very, very good stuff. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Swenson. And I just want to mention for our listening audience out in the community as well, that we still always need volunteers. I believe on her email list, Kim has over 300 names, but everyone is so busy now with so many things going on that we can still use more volunteers to help out in our schools or our special programs. We have our Pen Pal program for seniors. Now we have our Memorial Day Parade. We have our Veterans Day events. We have Read Across America, where we bring in special guests from the community, our Children and Seniors Together Week for our Cast Week. So we always need more volunteers. If anybody's interested, Kim's email address is ravevolunteercoordinator@gmail.com, or call anyone at the Raynham schools, leave your number and your name and number, and Kim will get in touch with you and we will sign you up. I could also like to mention from our Bridgewater Raynham School Committee, Dr. Susan Prewandowski is here. Sue is a very active volunteer for many years, as well as a member of our school committee. Would we give Susan a round of applause? Speaking about our wonderful community support high school. And from our community, Bridgewater Raynham community, between the Citizens Scholarship Foundation and private foundations, private scholarships, $150,000 was given in scholarship money to our seniors, which is really just phenomenal. So we have a great time. And if I could ask her to come back here, Heidi Latender, principal here at the Merrill School. Mrs. Latender was one of the conspirators that at our annual dinner meeting last in 2012, I believe it was, along with Sandy Leahy and Taryn Riley, had the idea about we need a Memorial Day parade. So that was the seed that was planted, and we got the job done, and we'll have another Memorial Day parade for sure next year. I do.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Kim, for this wonderful event and Gabe and the whole Raynham board. I'm always happy to host the event here at Merrill School. Wonderful to see all the volunteers come together. Volunteers, as a classroom teacher, I was very excited about having coming into my classroom when I taught 3rd grade and other grades. And parents who come in and community members who come in are the voices for our schools. You go out and you tell people about what's going on in our schools, and a lot of people are amazed about all the different things that happen in one day, all the different routines that take place in the elementary classroom. And we are grateful to have all these volunteers to help us, support us, and join together with the Merrill School and all the schools in Raynham to make all these wonderful events happen for our students, whether it's the bus reception program that eases parents' minds when kindergarten comes along and the kindergartners are getting on the bus for the first time, and parents are very worried about their children on the bus with no seat belts and taken away to school. And that program is phenomenal, and I'm very grateful for that program because it helps ease my anxiety, making sure those children get on the right bus and make it home. But also our Read Across America Week, our Reading Incentive program here at Merrill School that Kim helps facilitate and organize with us. There are so many opportunities to volunteer in the school district, and it is incredible to see all the people who are willing to take the time to come join us. And we are grateful, and I'm very appreciative, and I know I speak on behalf of all Merrill staff, that we are thankful for all you do, for your dedication and your passion to help in the school community and the town. So thank you very much, and enjoy your afternoon.
Thank you, Mrs. Latender. And if we could ask Mr. Dennis Bray, our principal from Liberty, who also now is a parent of children in our school.
Good afternoon, everybody. I just wanted to thank everyone on behalf of the staff at La Liberty. We appreciate all that you do for us every day. We know that it takes a lot of work to organize all the events, Read Across America Week. Today is Cast Day. We have the Pen Pal program coming up that you heard about. But it's also the day-to-day things you do. I never walk by the workroom and see it empty. There's always volunteers in there, whether they're photocopying, cutting something out, hanging up a bulletin board. And those little things are greatly appreciated, and I want you to know that it doesn't go unnoticed. Your time and effort in our school every day is tremendous, and you're a very valuable part of the Liberty School community. And I look at this bulletin board over here that my son Evan Bray signed, and I see that he has 8 brave volunteers in his room. I'm sure all 8 aren't there at one time, but I'm sure there's somebody in his room every day. And it's just like that at La Liberty. Anytime a teacher needs someone to come in, there's multiple names on the list. If I ask Pat or Kim for some help with something, we get at least 10 to 15 people every time. So I just want to say thank you. I really appreciate all that you do. Enjoy your lunch, and I hope we'll see all of you and even more next year. Thank you.
Mr. Gray. I do want to give a special recognition to, it was mentioned earlier, Mr. Aaron Mallow, and also Seth Agafidi, 2 of our Dunkin' Donuts friends, because we're doing our Dunkin' Donuts fundraiser again. If you haven't already heard about it, we're selling those great mugs for a donation to RAVE, and you can get refills for 99 cents. It's really awesome. It has helped us tremendously with our fundraising effort. So thank you for that, Aaron. If I could ask Kim and Gay to come back here so we could give out our service pins. Shoshana started the tradition of giving out 3-year pins to our volunteers, so I'm going to read the list quickly because I know we're all so busy and have so many things to do. If you are here and your name is read, if you could just raise your hand, and Kim and or Gay will bring it to you so you don't have to trek up here. Our 3-year volunteers. Start with 3 years. We have Pamela Benoit, Nicole Ferreira, Maureen Manning, Wendy Walsh. Do you want them to come up? Okay, if you could come up, it probably would be easier. Sorry about that. So Pamela Benoit, I'll start again. Nicole Ferreira, Maureen Manning, Wendy Welsh, also Patricia Cruz, Jen Kinder, Amy Ritchie, Kimberly Day, Kimberly Lanigan, Patty Wagner, and Carrie Wozniak. And I apologize if I butchered your name. Our 6-year volunteers, we have many 6-year volunteers, Laurie Bishop, Cheryl Brennan, Julie Buttafuoco, Michelle Corsi, Leslie Danish, Kim Dolan, is that you, Kim? Okay, Kate, please give Kim a pin. And Kate Dyer, I know Kate is here. Robin Aaronswig, Kelly Hetrick, Heather McNally, Pam Manconi, Dana Nassif, Lorraine Herrera. Lorraine is here. Lorraine is a previous recipient of our Everyday Unsung Hero Award for all that she does. Kara Peters. Kara is actually, she'll be down here a little bit later. She's actually working, she is working in our classroom. You know, many of our volunteers, Kara, you have to come back in a couple minutes, okay? Okay. We lose more of our volunteers to the school department than anywhere else, but that's good because we provide on-the-job training. Melissa Reed, Michelle Rose, Lynn Rothwell, Laura Russell, Wendy Souza, Erin Skrasinski, Christine Turksera, and Karen Tuplin. Our 9-year volunteers, Kelly Dorsey, Lorraine Levy, who's now a new member of our school committee, Colleen Needham, and Karen Robertson. 12-year volunteers, we have Carolyn Prescia, Michelle Leclerc, and Terry Pimento. 15-year volunteers, Donna Greaves, Lily Laro, I know Lily's here, Elaine Oldfield, and Deborah Vitale. 18-year volunteer, Kathy Boyd and Robin Burns, 2 hardworking members of our board, both that are at their other work right now, but they send their greetings to everyone. 21-year volunteer, we have Judy Niles, retired music teacher. Judy is here. Volunteers Brenda Clemmy, Marge Lockey, and Kathleen Roberts. So thanks to all of them and to everybody, new volunteers and returning volunteers for everything that you do. We do have a couple of special awards, and if we lose Kara. Okay, in the meantime, we can go to the other awards. We have 2 of our larger awards. One is the Shoshana Garshik Volunteer of the Year Award, which, was established when Shoshana retired, and we've had several recipients of that, and so this is really of some of our really outstanding volunteers. And it's based on outstanding leadership, as Shoshana obviously exemplified, and someone who has served on the Rave Board of Directors for a number of years in a leadership role and really exemplifies what Rave is all about. And this year's recipient, we can all applaud when she walks in, because she is now an aide in one of the classrooms, and I'll tell you, it is Kara Peters. She was just here a minute ago. We're going to bring her back here. And Kara is she's been, actually she's getting a pin this year. Was it 6th year, I believe. She's served for a few years now on our Rave Board of Directors, and she has the huge task of coordinating the kindergarten reception program, which involves getting volunteers to give tours of the school and also to ride on those kindergarten buses. There are, Kim, over 100 slots to fill, I believe, and Kim actually co-chaired that with Kara, her first year on our Rave Board, and Kara then co-chaired it with a couple of other people. This year she pretty much handled it on her own and did an awesome job. So can I just see that plaque? It says, the Shoshana Garshik Ray Volunteer of the Year Award is hereby presented on May 2014 to, drumroll, Kara Peters. Is she coming? She's not here. She is coming, and we'll get that. In the meantime, here she comes. She's coming down the hallway right this moment. So we'll give her a round of applause when she steps in. Does she know we're all waiting? Kara also is serving as the president of the Liberty Parent Organization, so she helps out in so many different ways, and she's just awesome with the children that she helps here at Merrill. So Kim, I'll let you hand this to our recipient, Kara Peters. Our other award was established in 2006. It's our Rave Board of Directors Rave Award for Exceptional Dedication and Commitment to the Children of Raynham. The individual does not necessarily have to be a Rave volunteer, does not have to be a board member, but somebody really who has gone above and beyond to make a difference to the children of Raynham, not just for 1 year, but for many years. And our recipients have been, 2006 was Anthony Caputo, former principal of Merrill and La Liberty. 2007 was a retired police chief Peter King, who obviously established our fingerprinting identification program many years ago and works with us every year on our fingerprinting program. 2008 was Selectman Don McKinnon. 2009 was Kathleen Roberts, an original Rave member, former teacher and principal. 2010 was Catherine Tripp, principal of this school and a Rave volunteer. 2011 was retired police chief Lou Pacheco. 2012 was Anne Patrice White, who has passed away, but Pat was a wonderful former teacher, so involved in our Rave organization, wrote the history of Raynham. I mean, you see these people are really who's who in Raynham. Last year was Sandy Leahy, former teacher, and again is co-chair of our Salute to Veterans. And this year, Kim, drumroll here, the Rave Award for Exceptional Dedication and Commitment to the Children of Raynham is hereby presented to this individual who does serve as a Rave volunteer. She's actually getting a 6-year pin this year. She serves on our Rave Board of Directors, co-chairs our Read Across America program, and was recently recognized by our Bridgewater Raynham School Committee for all that she does. She's president of the Special Education Parents Advisory Council, and has, on her own, came up with this disability awareness event, fair, that it's held at La Liberty for all of the 4th grade children to come and see, try to realize what it's like when you have a disability. And Kate Dyer is so dedicated to children in Raynham that Kate, we told you had to come today because we wanted to give you this. Kate Dyer. Thank you again, Kate, for everything you do. I think that pretty much concludes what we have here. There are a few things still going on with Rave. Obviously, till the end of the year, we're still going to be volunteering in those classrooms. We have our Pen Pal program coming up, the finale for that, the party, and and obviously we'll be having our annual dinner meeting. So thank you all for your involvement. Please come back next year and bring some friends. Thank you so much.
Thanks, bud. Thanks for everything. Great, appreciate it.
Good afternoon, folks. Could you just stick around for a couple minutes? I forgot something. Hold on one minute. I commandeered the microphone and I'm getting a dirty look from the chair of the committee as well as Raynham.
Before everybody goes, I really think that Kim Dolan and Pat Riley do so much for everybody, and they deserve a huge round of applause for all they do. Their recognition doesn't know, the definition of recognition doesn't go unnoticed, and thank you.
Say thank you. It's a team effort. We couldn't do it without all of you. Thank you so much.
This is fun.